They told you the universe is out there. They forgot to mention it's looking back at you. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a line of code projected into a quantum field that can only respond one way, by reflecting. The mirror doesn't judge, it doesn't edit. It simply returns your frequency wrapped in matter. At the smallest measurable scale, reality stops behaving like things and starts behaving like possibilities. Particles don't sit still. They exist as waves of probability until someone observes them. Then, and only then, do they choose a position. The observer effect shattered science's old certainty. Matter listens, it listens to awareness. If that's true on the level of photons and electrons, what happens when a living consciousness, you, observes your own life? In 1801, Thomas Young's double-slit experiment showed that light behaves as both particle and wave. In 2012, physicists repeated it with larger molecules and got the same result. Observation itself decided how the experiment ended. That means the universe is participatory. It's not running without you, it's running through you. I remember standing at my window once, staring at the rain on the glass, and realizing that every drop falling outside mirrored the tears I hadn't cried inside. The weather was listening. The field had answered the emotion before I even admitted it to myself. Most people think they're conscious beings, making conscious choices. In truth, more than 90% of our actions and perceptions are filtered through the subconscious. It's like the software that renders the hologram before you see it. When the subconscious carries programs of fear, lack, or unworthiness, the mirror faithfully paints them across your reality. It isn't punishment, it's feedback. I've lived that cycle, trying to change the world without changing the signal that generated it. It never worked until I changed within. The moment I started seeing myself as enough, life stopped showing me situations that said otherwise. Two particles once connected remain linked, no matter how far apart they travel. Change one, and the other reacts instantly. Distance means nothing. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But maybe it's not spooky. Maybe it's home. Think of every person who has ever loved you. The bond doesn't end at goodbye. Your energy signatures remain entwined in the field. That's why you think of someone and they message you moments later. It's not coincidence, it's resonance. Ancient mystics said, what you do to another, you do to yourself. Quantum physics now quietly agrees. If observation collapses a wave into one outcome, what happens to the outcomes you didn't choose? They don't vanish. They exist as parallel probabilities, different versions of you playing out different scripts. When you shift belief, you tune to a different timeline. Just as a radio turns to a new station, the old song doesn't stop playing. You simply stop receiving it. That's why deep healing feels like jumping tracks. People, places, even cravings begin to fade because you're no longer vibrating at the same address. Logic may write the code, but emotion presses enter. The heart's magnetic field is thousands of times stronger than the brain's electrical output. It's the cursor that tells the universe where to type the next line of reality. When you combine clear thought with elevated emotion, you create coherence, the key that unlocks the mirror. I've tested this. Moments when I felt gratitude before the evidence appeared, life mirrored that gratitude within hours. The sequence wasn't magic, it was alignment. The mirror repeats until the signal changes. That's why lessons show up again and again, dressed in different faces. It's not karma seeking revenge, it's consciousness seeking recognition. Once you see the pattern, you're free to choose a new frequency. And the moment you choose, the field begins to rearrange. Quietly at first, then unmistakably. You'll know it's working when coincidences start forming constellations. The mirror doesn't echo your words, it echoes the feeling behind them. You can say, I'm fine 1,000 times, but if your body hums with sadness, the field will mirror sadness, not the sentence. That's why real change begins in vibration, not vocabulary. When the meaning inside you shifts, language follows automatically. I've learned that my reality upgrades the moment I stop performing peace and actually feel it. Even for 10 seconds, those 10 seconds carry more creative weight than 1,000 forced affirmations. Every human thought ripples outward, joining a sea of frequencies. When enough people hold similar emotional charge, the mirror magnifies it until it becomes visible as reality. That's why entire societies rise or fall together. It's why hope spreads like light across a crowd. It's why fear can trigger war. The collective field is a living organism that listens to its own thoughts. You are one neuron in that global brain. When you choose awareness, you send a signal of coherence into the grid. Small doesn't mean powerless. One coherent frequency can stabilize thousands of incoherent ones, just as one tuning fork can bring others into harmony. Perception is programming. The brain doesn't see reality, it predicts it. It fills in gaps based on memory, expectation, and emotion, then calls that projection the world. When you challenge an old belief, you literally rewire the prediction system. That's why change feels disorienting. Your inner map is updating. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine deleting the line of code that says, "I am powerless." Now run the program again. Feel how every possibility shifts. People respond differently. Coincidences appear. Even your posture changes. That's not fantasy. It's neuroplasticity meeting quantum feedback. If the universe is a hologram, every fragment contains the whole. Cut a holographic plate in half, and you don't get half an image. You get the entire image, slightly dimmer. You are that fragment. Every heartbeat is the whole universe remembering itself in miniature. The mystic said, "The kingdom of heaven is within." The physicists call it non-locality. Different tongues, one truth. The macrocosm and microcosm are reflections of the same mind. You can't fight the mirror into showing a new picture. You polish it, you breathe, forgive, soften. Alignment isn't about control, it's about cooperation. When you stop forcing outcomes and start tuning frequency, the reflection clears by itself. Think of gratitude as Windex for the soul. It removes the fingerprints of fear. The past and future are just coordinates. Observation happens only in one point. Now, every second lived fully collapses infinite possibilities into one luminous fact. That's why mindfulness matters. It keeps the projection booth steady, so the film stops flickering between regret and anticipation. In stillness, the frame stabilizes, and you finally see the pattern hidden in motion. The mirror was never meant to trap you. It was meant to teach you. Each reflection is an invitation. Do you recognize yourself yet? When you do, duality dissolves. The mirror becomes transparent, and through it, you glimpse the simple truth that ends the search. You were never observing reality. You were remembering you are reality. I felt that moment, brief, blinding, peaceful. Everything slowed, colors brightened, and even pain seemed to glow with purpose. It didn't last long, but it changed everything. So here's the question the mirror keeps asking. If life is reflecting you, what masterpiece are you willing to paint next? Every thought a brushstroke, every breath a hue, every act of love, a burst of light on the canvas of existence. You are not trapped inside the universe. You are the lens through which the universe learns how beautiful it can be. Look into the mirror one more time. Whisper the new command. Reflect the truth of who I am. Light, aware, infinite. And watch the world answer back. Leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. This has been Valkyrie. Thanks for stopping by.